Hello, everybody. Welcome to Principal Accounting 2. I'm Professor Kush Jenkins, and today we're going to do Chapter 22, Decentralization and Performance Evaluation. So conceptual learning objectives for this chapter are to, one, distinguish between direct and indirect expenses and identify bases for allocating indirect expenses to departments. Appendix 22A, if you look at it, explains the transfer pricing and methods to set transfer prices. And Appendix 22B, it describes allocation of joint costs across products. Analytical learning objectives, one is to analyze investment centers using return on total assets, residual income, and the balanced scorecard. Two, we want to analyze investment centers using profit margin and investment turnover. Three, we want to analyze investment centers using the balanced scorecard. And the fourth thing we want to do is compute cycle time and cycle efficiency and explain their importance to production management. Procedural learning objectives. The first one will be to prepare a responsibility report for a cost center. The second will be allocate indirect expenses to departments. And then lastly, we'll prepare a departmental income statement and contribution reports. So responsibility accounting. The primary goal for responsibility accounting is to provide information for managers to use in performance evaluations of departments. The control costs and also to control costs and expenses and assist with evaluating managers' performance. Information for departmental evaluation. The accounting system provides information about resources used and outputs achieved. Managers use this information to control the operations, appraise their performance, allocate resources, and plan their strategy. There are three different types of accounting information provided. It depends on what department center you use, right? So there are three different department centers. Profit center, on the profit center, you'll be evaluated on your ability to generate revenues in excess of expenses. The second way is cost center. That's your ability to control costs. And then the third way you could be evaluated as an investment center is evaluated on your ability to center assets to generate income or return on investment. Responsibility accounting, an accounting system that provides information relating to the responsibilities of individual managers to evaluate the managers on controllable items. What are controllable costs? You see this guy, he's like, I'm in control of the water cooler. But controllable costs, the costs that are controllable if the manager has power to determine or strongly influence the amounts incurred, right? A manager's performance evaluation should be based on controllable costs. Oh, sorry, I went back one. So ways to distinguish between a direct cost and a controllable cost. Direct costs are traced to the departments, but may not be controllable by the department manager, right? For example, department managers usually have no control over their own salaries. So you can trace that salary directly to the department, but the managers don't have control over it. A controllable cost are identified with a particular manager and a definitive time period. So all costs are controllable at some level of management if the time period is long enough, right? When evaluating managers' performance, we should use data reflecting that departments' outputs along with their controllable costs and expenses. Responsibility accounting. Successful implementation of responsibility accounting may use organizational charts with clear lines of authority and clear defined levels of responsibility. It uses the concept of controllable costs to assign managers the responsibility for costs and expenses under their control. Responsibility accounting, amount of detail varies according to the level of organization. The managers on the bottom, they have the most information, right? They're going to have very detailed reports, by the minute, what is overtime reports and all these different reports. Store managers receive the departmental manager information, but it's summarized. So they got less information, and the one with the least amount is the vice president. They're going to get the store manager information, but in a little bit more condensed form. Responsibility accounting performance reports to maximize the benefit, especially for departmental managers, right? Responsibility reports should be timely. They should be issued regularly. They should be understandable. And you should be able to compare budgeted and actual amounts at all times. Direct and indirect expenses. Direct expenses are incurred for the sole benefit of a specific department. Indirect expenses, and they are controllable costs. In this case, indirect expenses are benefit more than one department and are allocated among departments benefiting in this uncontrollable cost. So let me give you an illustration of this, indirect expenses. Let's say classic jewelry, a retail store pays its janitorial services $300 per month to clean its store. Management allocates the cost to the three departments as per floor space. So they have 4,000 square feet of floor space, 2,400 for jewelry, 600 for China, and 600 for watch repair, and 1,000 for China. So we're going to take the 2,400 divided by 4,000, and you'll get 60%. And then you'll take that 60% times the $300 per month, and $180 should be allocated for jewelry, $45 should be allocated to watch repair, and $75 should be allocated to China. That's how we allocate the cost. Basis for allocating service department costs. Service department costs are shared indirect expenses that support the activities of two or more production departments, right? So here's the service departments. And what they're saying is some common allocation basis. Office expenses are commonly allocated by number of employees they have. So is personnel expenses and payroll. Advertising expenses are normally allocated by advertising. Purchasing costs are normally allocated by number of purchases. And cleaning expenses and maintenance expenses are normally allocated by how much floor space is occupied in the building. And here's an example. ABCO allocates its $300,000 personnel costs to operating departments based on the number of employees in each department. The assembly department has 100 employees and packing has 150. What amount of the cost would it be? So we're going to take, what apart for assembly? So assembly has 100 employees. So we're going to add 100 plus 150, that's 250. And then we're going to take 100 divided by 250. You should get 40%. And I'll show you the calculation. 40% of 300,000 is 120. See, this is the equation. All right. Preparing departmental income statements, right? So how do we allocate costs to the operating departments and preparing departmental income statements involving 4 steps, right? So how we do this, the first thing, we accumulate the revenues and direct expenses by department. Then we're going to allocate the indirect expenses across the departments. They're allocating service department, operating departments, and we'll prepare that departmental income statement. So the first step, we're going to have here are direct expenses and indirect expenses for all the departments. We have general and office department, purchasing, hardware, houseware, and appliances. These three are the actual departments that are doing work. These are indirect departments. So we want to allocate these two across these three. So if you see, they've done it here, general office department, they allocated per sales. So $7,650 goes to houseware, $4,590 goes to, hardware gets $7,650. Houseware gets $4,590, and appliances get $3,060. Purchasing department use purchase orders. They have $9,700. And so $3,880 goes to hardware, $2,630 goes to houseware, and $3,190 goes to appliances. So the direct expenses are traced to the service department and the sales departments without allocation. So direct expenses are payroll, depreciation expenses, and supplies. And so of the total 12,000 square feet, the service department occupies 1,500 square feet. Houseware does 4,050 square feet, and hardware does 4,050 square feet. Houseware has 2,700, appliances 2,250. It's just like the example I just gave you. We're gonna add these together, and so there's 1,500 square feet for appliances. Multiply that by $2,400, which is the total expense, and you get 300 for purchasing, 300 for general administrative, 810 for hardware, 540 for houseware, and appliances will get 450. And step 3, the service department, just what we had told you, what I did earlier. I showed you the service department total expenses from the 2 service departments are allocated to the sales departments. And then with that, your departmental income statement should look like this. There's your 3 sales department, the allocation for the 2 service departments here. And so you should have $10,800 is the net income for hardware, $8,700 is the net income for houseware, and $500 net loss of $500 is appliance department's bottom line. In total, the company has $19,000 in net income. And you see the direct expenses are here, and the indirect expenses come second. Departmental contribution to overhead. Departmental contribution to overhead here. So you take the gross profit, so sales, minus the total direct expenses, you get the departmental contribution for overhead. It's $29,400 for hardware, $20,600 for houseware, and $9,500 for appliances. And then the contribution as percentage of sales is 24.6% for hardware, 28.7% for houseware, and 19.9% for appliances. Financial performance measures. One of the ways we evaluate investment center managers is to use a measure called return on investment, and ROI. I said that earlier. The formula for ROI is investment center net income divided by investment center average invested assets. Another measure on evaluating financial performance is by computing the investment center's residual income. That residual income equation is investment center net income minus their target investment center net income. We can further examine investment center performance by splitting down return on investment into profit margin and investment turnover. So ROI equals profit margin times investment turnover. This will provide further information on the performance of the unit. The profit margin is the first component in the expanded equation and measures the income earned per dollar of sales. So profit margin equals investment center net income divided by investment center sales. Investment turnover. The investment turnover measures how efficient, the company generates sales from its invested assets. It is used in the second half of the expanded ROI formula. Is investment center turnover is investment center sales divided by investment center average assets. The balanced scorecard is a system of performance measures, including non-financial measures. It is used to assess the company and division performance based on four perspectives: the customer perspective, what does the customer think? The internal processes, which of our operations are critical to meeting customer needs? Innovation and learning, how can we improve? And financial, what do our owners think of us? Cycle time and cycle efficiency. Manufacturing companies want to reduce the time to manufacture their products and to improve manufacturer efficiency. Cycle time equals process time plus inspection time plus move time plus wait time. Process time is the time spent producing the product. Inspection time is the time spent inspecting. Move time is the time spent moving. The wait time is time that an order or job sits with no production applied to it. It kind of sits on the floor. Companies strive to reduce non-value added time to improve cycle efficiency, right? So cycle efficiency is value added time divided by cycle time. Value added time is the process time. The non-value added time is the inspection time, the move time, and the wait time. Transfer pricing. Transfer pricing is also an item in this chapter. It's determining the price that should be used to record transfers between two divisions in the same company. It's called, so think if like Walt Disney Company. The Disney Parks wants to purchase the licensing of Marvel Entertainment characters. That is an intra-company transaction. So what is the price that Marvel is going to charge Disney Parks to use their licensing? And that's what is the conversation with transfer pricing. These transactions or transfers within the same company, I just said that transfer prices can be used in cost, profit, and investment centers. Most manufacturing joint costs and their allocation, most manufacturing processes involve joint costs, which refer to costs incurred to produce or purchase two or more products at the same time. Joint costs are allocated among the joint products resulting from it. Two methods can be used are physical basis and value basis. And that is chapter 22. I hope this chapter helps in your finishing this course and your understanding of managerial accounting, and have a fantastic day.